What we have on the table in front of us is a group of remains of coin moulds from quite a well-known archaeological discovery of coin moulds made at Lingwell Gate in the first half of the 19th century. This kind of material has been discovered at various times since, I think, the late 17th century and on into the first half of the 19th century, and they haven't all been found at the same time, but on a number of different occasions. What we can see on the paper in front of us are the two halves of the coin mould. So, for instance, one half of the mould shows the emperor's head, and if you look at that very carefully, you'll see that what you have is the impression of the head, and then the impression of the letters that you would see on the Roman coin going on the outside. But it's all the mirror image of what the final article would look like, because when you're making the mould, you have to design it in such a way that the thing that you want is presented in the mould itself as a kind of mirror image, and then when you cast from that mould, you get the things, you get the design, the writing, the right way round. So when we look at these moulds, they're actually quite difficult to read because the writing is back to front and reversed. So we've got the emperor's head, and then on the reverse, another half, separate half of the coin mould will show, for example, deities, gods and goddesses, or a particular quality associated with that emperor. On one of these we can actually see a lion with what I think is a radiate head, sort of spikes coming out of his head. We also have within the collection the top of the mould that was used to cast the copies or forgeries of the Roman coins. And the way this worked is that the funnel, the top of the mould, would sit on top, and the molten metal would be poured in through this hole at the top. Then the molten metal would run down the centre of the funnel and come out of a hole that you can see underneath. And the coin moulds would be arranged in such a way that they were sitting one on top of the other to create a series of columns, each with a void in the middle where the coin moulds were sitting, ready to receive the molten metal. So the molten metal flows into the funnel, through the other side, and then spreads out into the voids between each pair of coin moulds. And when that metal has cooled down and solidified, the mould can be broken apart and the replica coins removed and the debris, and that includes the coin moulds themselves, thrown away. It's probably unlikely that the forgers were able to reuse the mould. They probably simply threw them away. And if they were forging coins in any quantity, it's likely that there was quite a large quantity of broken coin moulds lying about, and that seems to be what has been discovered at Lingwell Gate over a number of years. The date range of the emperors represented here runs between, say, the 180s and about the 220s, so it's the end of the Antonine emperors and the House of Severus and the successors of the House of Severus, people like, for instance, Macrinus, Elagabalus, Severus Alexander, and so on. And the coins that have been used to make these moulds are silver denarii. So they've taken an original coin, pressed it into some very fine quality clay to make the mould, done an impression of both sides, and used that coin to create the mould for the forgery. And I think it's possible that what this represents is the need to forge large numbers of supposedly silver denarii at a time when a new coin called the double denarius is being introduced into the Roman currency system, which contains less silver. And I think in those circumstances people were going to be attracted to the traditional silver denarius and be very suspicious of the new coin, the double denarius, And so anybody who was making imitation or forgeries of silver denarii would be in quite a strong position, because they'd be able to pass them off more easily than if they were this new coin, the double denarius, that people were suspicious of.